Call a special Ayer Board of Assessors meeting on Thursday, March 16th at 2:15 p.m. It's a Zoom meeting, a remote Zoom meeting. Okay. The first thing we have to do is approve the agenda. Has everybody looked at it? And do you have any questions, Jim, on the agenda?
No, I don't. I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as written.
Okay. I second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We approved the agenda. Okay. Next is discussion of fiscal year 2023 overlay requirements.
I just wanted to introduce Barbara Turney. She's the finance director. She's actually on the meeting here in case there's any questions on the overlay requirement for FY 2023. Pages 2 and 3. I provided an overlay worksheet and it gives the 5-year average that we've had from FY 18 to 22. Page 4 and 5 are a request from the town to release $250,000 from the overlay surplus for the FY 2024 budget. And I currently have a total of $130,339.16 of real estate abatements from the 13 abatements that I had for FY 2023 and the 3 ATB cases which we victoriously settled this week. And I'll be discussing those shortly when we go into executive session.
Okay. Let's see, the overlay balance right now is $951,000.
Yes, and then balance, this is what we estimated to need is $85,885. As I had mentioned, the total that we will need for these 3 cases that have been settled, plus I have 1 abatement that I'm actually going to grant. The others will be denied, and the total of all of those is $130,339.16.
Okay.
So the overlay balance, the excess is $865,239.43.
Okay. Is there any certain amount we have to maintain?
There's typically, and if you look at this 5-year average, that's why that's provided. The overlay from FY 2023, we had put in $293,196.98. So if we deduct that $250, we will have more than enough. And we don't have any other pending HEB cases at this point. Everything has been settled.
Okay. But there's no state mandate on how much you have to amount or percentage?
No, there is not.
When is that put in each year?
Typically, is that put in, Barbara?
So that's part of our tax recap. So every year around the November, the assessor will state how much they feel should be added to the overlay account each year. Here in Ayer, it's traditionally been right around 300,000 or a little less. And then it just continues to build from year to year. And then when it builds up to a certain amount, they usually recommend doing what we're doing right now and starting to release some of it, which Ayer has been doing the last couple of years.
Okay. Do you have any questions, Jim?
No, how much have we released the last 2 years, do you know?
I don't believe we have released anything in the past 2 years.
No, last year was just over 312,000, and the year before, I believe, was 303. I'm going off the cuff a little bit, but it's been right around 300,000 the last couple of years that has been released, according to my budget records, anyways.
Okay. All right. Any other questions, Jim?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Thank you.
So we should vote on whether we should distribute the 250,000, take it out of that. You have a motion, Jim?
I'll make a motion to distribute $250,000 for the overlay. For the release of the overlay.
Okay, I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, now we have to go into executive session.
Yeah.
Make a any other? Go ahead, Linda.
Yeah, before we go into executive session, I wanted to see if we could schedule our next Board of Assessors meeting,
Okay.
which was scheduled for Wednesday, April 26th at 2. Can we move that to Tuesday, April 25th at 2 o'clock?
26, that too. Yeah, that's fine with me.
Let me, if I can find my my calendar right away. I'm sorry, Linda, what date did you want? Tuesday?
Yeah, Tuesday, April 25th at 2 o'clock.
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. Okay.
Any motion to that? We need a motion?
Jim, you're gonna stay on, you're not sure yet, right?
I think it's best if I don't. I guess the better question is, when do we think they're no longer going to allow Zoom meetings? Because the reason I got off 20 years ago was that I retired and I'm out of the area quite a bit. And as long as we have Zoom meetings, I'm okay. But I don't think it's fair to all of a sudden just say I can't make meetings, you know?
The Zoom meetings are supposed to end the end of March, but we're not sure if they extend that. And so I can't really tell you at this point if that will happen. But you would need to file the paperwork, at least get the paperwork by tomorrow and then submit it by Tuesday. And I know you're in Florida. You could always be an add-on on May 9th.
Well,
When do we just talked about this, but
We
they
did.
don't know when they're gonna make a decision, huh?
No, we have not heard anything as of yet, but it was supposed to end the end of March. I'm not sure if that's going to be extended. So I can't answer that. I'm sorry.
Okay, okay. All right, any other discussion on that?
you want a motion for the,
Executive session, Tim,
you want a motion?
on that?
Nick, do you want a motion for the next assessors meeting, or do you just make it?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Will we make a motion for the next assessors meeting? I'll make a motion that we have the next assessors meeting on Tuesday, April 25th at 2 o'clock.
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now let's go into executive session. I'm gonna make a motion on that, Jim.
Shall I make a motion to go into executive session regarding executive? Whoops, we just lost that.
I have a question. Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, it looks like Ruth. Yep. That's Ruth.
Okay.
Yeah, she has herself on mute.
Okay, so what did she
It
ask?
says I'm unmuted. Can anybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello? Oh, hooray. I'm frustrating. Okay. So
Okay.
frustrating.
So what, did we make a motion on the executive session?
I was right in the middle of it, but I'd make a motion to go into executive session regarding exemption number 3, litigation strategies.
Okay.
So moved.
I second that.
Second it.
Okay. Okay, Ruth second. Okay, Ruth, how do you vote on that?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes, aye. Can you hear me?
Jim?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Okay, so now we're in executive session. Okay, Linda?
Okay. All righty. So after months of hard work, we have finally settled these 3 AGB cases. And I actually provided some documentation for the first property, 400 Groton Road. Page 6 is the settlement that was agreed upon. And there's also a table below that that actually has the breakdown of the current value, the new value that was settled upon, the tax rate for all 3 years for FY 21, 22, and 23, the current taxable amount, the new taxable amount, and what the abatement and the tax difference will be. So on that 400 Groton Road, between the real estate total and the CPA, the abatement total will be $87,065.97. And on pages 7, 8, and 9, those are the abatements for the board to approve.
Okay. We do them individually, Linda?
Yeah, that would be fine. If there's any questions, I'd be glad to answer them as well.
So you have a motion on 400 Groton Road?
I'll make a motion to grant the abatement to, let's see, you want the final amount then?
Yeah, I have them individually for all 3 years. So I don't know if you want to do it by like the year fiscal 23. We could do it by the fiscal year if that's easier.
So I'll make a motion to grant the abatement for FY 21 of $26,568.04. For FY 22, $29,411.20. FY 23, $28,550.75.
Do we have a second on that?
I second that.
Jim, how do you vote on that?
Aye.
Ruth?
Aye. Aye.
And the chair votes aye.
Okay.
That it's passed.
All right. And I just wanted to mention that those amounts are broken down by the real estate, but if you look at pages 7, 8, and 9, the CPA is included on those abatements. So it's a little more, based on the CPA being added in.
Should we vote on that?
Do you want to add a separate, I see a separate CPA of $2,535.98
Yes.
for the total.
Yep.
I'll make a motion to add the CPA of $2,535.98 to the previous amount for 400 Groton Road.
I'll second that.
How do you vote on that, Ruth?
Aye.
Jim, how do you vote?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye.
All right. The next property is 15 Winthrop Avenue and 0 Winthrop Avenue. And the settlement is listed, what was requested for FY 20, 21, and 22, reduction in value in the amount of $1,025,000. And on FY 2023, a reduction in value in the amount of $1.1 million. And there's no interest on these abatements. Actually, I wanted to mention the other property, 400 Groton, there was no interest on those as well. So the breakdown based on the fiscal year, the current value, the new values, the tax rate, the current taxable amount, and then the new taxable amount, the total For the real estate and the CPA is 43,168.29. And for pages 11, 12, and 13, those are the abatements for the fiscal years 23, 22, and 21. Just like the board to approve those. If there's any questions, I can answer those as well.
To make a motion on that?
Can we combine all of them? I don't have the individual ones.
Oh, you don't? Oh, page.
No, I only received it on my phone and it didn't come out very well on my phone, so.
Oh, okay. I can read you the individual amounts if that's helpful for each fiscal year, including a CPA.
Okay, if you want to do
I
that.
can make the motion if you want.
Okay, why don't you do it, Nick?
Okay, I make a motion that we, for fiscal year 2021, we abate $14,493.50. For fiscal year 2022, $13,755.50. Fiscal year 2023, $13,662. And the CPA amount of $1,257.29.
Okay.
Do I have a second?
This is for 15 Winthrop Avenue.
That's correct.
Second,
Excuse me. I have a question. Where did you get that last CPA of 1,000? Where did you get that one, that number?
That's the combination of all three. If you look at pages 11 and 13, it actually breaks it down, the CPA for each fiscal year.
Okay, so if you add the 434 and the 409 and it adds
Yes.
up to the 1,000 and done that. Okay, in my head.
Yep, that's
Okay.
correct. Yep.
Okay. All right. So, I'm sorry, were we taking a vote? I'm sorry. I vote aye for that.
Jim, how do you vote?
aye.
And the chair votes aye. That's passed. Okay,
Okay.
so, let's see, so we have to vote to go out of executive session. Do we have, can't remember, can we, adjourn the meeting? Or do we have to go out of executive session first? I'm not sure.
We can adjourn.
I had a question about the meeting, what I missed because I couldn't get in. I couldn't hear anybody about the $250,000 being taken out of the account. Could I ask that question at some point during this meeting before we close or adjourn, or should I just come in later and talk to you about it, Linda?
No, if you have a question, you can answer it now. If that's
Why don't we go out of,
Okay.
But that's
go out of executive session first, and we can discuss it. Okay.
okay.
All right.
Motion that we adjourn out of executive session.
Second,
Aye.
How do you vote?
aye.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Okay, so we're out of executive session. Okay, now we can discuss that if you like.
Okay.
Okay, my question was, and I'm so sorry, I apologize for not being able to turn on so I could hear you all and everything on the phone, but I could see what would happen if all of a sudden housing values plummet, and that would mean that we would be receiving less income. And what would happen if we do not, getting rid of this extra, quote, extra money in our overlay account? Is that going to be a problem maybe in the future if real estate goes down? I know we still have a balance in there, but is that going to be enough?
Yeah.
So may I chime in?
Yes, Barbara, I was just going to introduce.
So, hi, Ruth. I got introduced at the beginning. I don't think you were on yet. So just to, I'm sorry.
I can't see you. I don't know who I'm talking to.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is Barbara Tierney. I'm the finance manager here in the town of Ayer.
Oh, okay. Hi, Barbara. Okay.
Thank you. So just to allay your fears, the overlay account is strictly for abatements. If our values change and our tax rate changes, we simply raise and appropriate to meet a certain budget. Our levy limit does not change. So raising money on the tax levy and amounts and overlay really kind of have they're two different things. It's apples and oranges. You would never use overlay just because of change in values. It would simply be if people put in appeals for abatements. So like, for example, today, these are people feeling that they're overvalued. So if housing markets plummeted, then what would happen is when Lisa does a tax recap, the tax rate would end up going up as a result in order to raise the appropriate amount of money.
Okay. So I was thinking if the values plummet, people are going to ask for abatement, saying my house doesn't work that anymore, and that would then come out of the overlay account.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So, I mean, every year the assessor in November does make a judgment on how much to put into the overlay account. So I think with Linda's expertise, she would be able to say, oh, I'm seeing this coming, and we could probably increase the amount we put that year on the overlay account.
And Ruth, I wanted to mention on the overlay worksheet that's provided, it give from FY18 to FY22 the average of the abatements and exemptions granted. So that's a 5-year average. That'll give you an idea as to what has been anticipated.
Well, that's been with rising prices and everything else. So that's why my question, what would happen if it tanks, because it did once. I don't remember when that was, but anyway, okay.
If the
There's some
value go down, would the tax rate go up? So that wouldn't make any difference on the overlay account.
Right.
Is that correct?
That is correct. And the overlay, as Barbara mentioned, is just for any ATB cases, the real estate and personal property abatements that come in. So that doesn't have anything to do with the tax rate. These are just abatements that come in. And any, case, ATB cases for the town.
How do they put in each year?
We just take, I know Barbara had mentioned, we've been putting in about 300,000 roughly a year.
Yeah, when I looked the last few years out of Gateway, it varied between 280 and 300,000 every year being put into the overlay account.
All right. Any other discussion?
So, yeah, well, Barbara, what happened then with the budget that we needed to take the 250,000 from the overlay account? That wouldn't have been something we were using in our budget, right? So did something happen that we had to take the money from there? Did we go over budget this year?
So we didn't go over budget. I will say we're not there yet to see whether we will need to use it as part of the budget. I won't know for another few days, but we have been for the last, I'm going to say 3 or 4 years, slowly releasing some of the overlay every year to get us back down to a sensible level. Last year, they released 312,000. They did not end up using it in the budget. So in the year before, I think it was 303,000.
Okay. It's in my first year. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm not seeing anything yet. It's also my first year doing the budget. So I'll apologize if I don't have a full answer to what we're going to need from, or if we're going to need to use the overlay partially or at all, as I'm also, just like you, kind of making my way through this first budget cycle. But I can tell you, looking historically, we've released overlay the last few years, and then there's been years where some of it's been used, and there's been years where none of it's been used, and I'm just not there yet for this budget cycle.
Where does the money go if they don't use it?
I believe it falls to free cash.
Okay.
If we don't use it, and then the town can do things like they normally do, like put it into stabilization or capital stabilization.
Okay.
Or they also sometimes pay down some small capital projects. I'm sure you're familiar with the use of free cash with Ayer, so apologize for saying that.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Any other discussion?
Okay.
Does any other old business?
Nothing at this point, no old, no new business discuss.
Thank you for including me.
Sure.
Oh, thank you, Barbara.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Do we have any other
Yeah, so we're
issues?
gonna make a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn at 2:41.
I second
I
it.
second it.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Oh. Hey, thank you.
See you. Bye-bye.